Hey, what's up everybody? This is JMike58 and welcome back to my Texas Longhorns Dynasty. As you know, it's time for another update on the recruiting trail before we get into this week's game when we go on the road to Ames, Iowa to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. Last week was a bye week, so there was no game. It was just recruiting. So if you need to get caught up, make sure that you hit the link at the top left of your screen. Watch that episode and see how we've got to where we're at right now on the recruiting trail. Today, we are looking at 24 prospects as we added 7 guys to our 17 that were 4- and 5-star top recruits. Ryan Brown is one of the guys that we just picked up this past week as a target. And as you see, he is lightly recruited, and so perfect opportunity for us to just barely throw any points at him at all, and we can kind of fill in some spots behind. Halfback, as you know, is a spot where they're just kind of falling at our feet, wanting to come to Texas. Charlie Strong can't get out of the way fast enough, while Tim Townsend is our key recruit that we're going after at the fullback position. And we're slipping a little bit, so we've got to throw a few more points at him so that we don't lose him to Michigan, especially before he comes on his visit. We found a very nice diamond in the rough with Keith Carr this past week. And Joe Little's a guy that we're going to continue to go after, but we've got 2 wide receiver options now. And with Butler and Huffman being our main guys at tight end, and just kind of as a backup plan there, Alex Carter in case that we don't sign both Butler and Huffman at tight end. But pretty confident that we'll be able to make a solid play there, competing against the likes of Tulane for Carter. I don't think that's going to be anything incredibly difficult. At the tackle position, Kevin Jefferson, another guy that we just added to the list in the last episode. Sam Callahan's a guy, is a 78 overall. He's definitely been on our radar since the beginning. We've got him scheduled to come in week 14 against Texas Tech. We've got several guys coming in then with some halfbacks, getting some bonuses for doing that. And Vincent Sanders, what a name, Vincent, at offensive guard, still progressing well there. Kyle Franz here. We're doing well enough there. We can actually pull points away from him because at this stage it looks like everybody else is not even making an effort to recruit him, so we'll use those points somewhere else. Terrence Daniels, however, one of the main guys we do want to get in here. Hopefully he'll stay on the board until week 14. Don't sign with anybody until you've made that visit to Austin. Some Big 12 opponents trying to grab him away as well. On the outside at the linebacker position, Will Thompson, we just added him this past week. Nobody's aggressively going after him. It looks like he's just interested in us and TCU at this point. Don't need to put a lot of points at him. Jason Davis, on the other hand, we've got to dump everything we can at him. 700 plus the bonus that we have available. He's not coming from a pipeline state in Ohio. That's going to be a tough pull against West Virginia and Clemson, but we desperately need him, as we do Derek Johnson at the cornerback position. We're doing okay there. Joe Holt, Garrett Irvin, a couple of guys that we noticed this past week. Holt, I believe, is a JUCO transfer that wouldn't be coming in with 4 years of eligibility. However, a 78 overall, this guy could probably step on the field and play right away, and he is more of a diamond in the rough type of guy. We scouted him. He showed that his attributes were much higher than what his initial ratings were. And so with Derek Johnson, to make sure that we stay ahead of the game there, we were slipping a little bit. We're going to put a few more hours into him this week, give him some extra attention. And with Holt, we want to do that as well because we don't want to fall out of the race there. On to the special teams side of things. Same as always here, not a big deal with the kicker and punters, but we've got a senior at each position, so we've got to give them some attention. We definitely don't want to walk on coming in there, coming in with like a 60 power. So we are going to definitely make sure we get someone there. Why not go after the top talent if it's available to us? The athletes, Adrian Anderson might be the steal of the class here. Many options for him. About the only thing he can't play is on the offensive line. Looks like we're kind of pulling away from Louisiana Monroe there, but just to make sure, we're going to throw a few extra points at him. And then as far as Cody Engel, we're going to do the same thing there as we've creeped up on Houston. We want to make sure that the Cougars kind of get squashed out of it there. Now, as far as guys this past round that we didn't throw scholarships at, we're going to narrow that down to only one guy. I'm not quite sure on Alex Carter if we want to offer him just yet. We'll see how that plays out with the other 2 guys we're going after. And then today, what I want to do is prepare just in the event that Davis, our middle linebacker target, prospect from Ohio. If we don't sign him, we've got to have a backup plan, and I don't want to wait until it's last minute and then scramble to find a 3-star and then maybe be stuck with a 2-star. So what we're going to do now is be more proactive, and we're kind of searching for some guys here that we can scout, see if we can find an option B or an option C. You know, we're not going to change our approach, but you've got to be smart and you've got to be strategic about things, and we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket right here. So John Cunningham is going to get a phone call from Charlie Strong, and we're going to send some guys out to scout his high school game, and it doesn't look quite as good as we had hoped. Anthony Jones, we're going to do the same, and thank goodness he is a little bit of a different story. He's got some speed there for a middle linebacker, and we like to see that especially. That's the position that I play with, as you've noticed, right now with Dalton Santos, the senior at middle linebacker. When we're playing in the game, the actual game play, that is who I play with, and there's nothing I like more than a guy with a high rating speed, able to elude the blockers, but also to make the tackles. So I'm loving that Anthony Jones there, a good option. Even if we sign Davis, you know, we still want to get some depth. So going after both of these guys, Davis and Jones, then dropping off with Cunningham. We're going to let him go. So as you can see, 25 targets moving forward. I love where we're at. We've got lots of visits planned. Scholarships are on the board. There's still some space if we need to go after a couple of guys here and there. But we are looking good right now. And the next thing up then is just to beat the Iowa State Cyclones. So we're heading on the road. It should be an easy one, but it never is a guarantee in Ames. Anything can happen there. So like the video, subscribe, make sure you don't miss tomorrow's gameplay action against the Cyclones. We'll see you then.